So on Sunday when I was watching Game of Thrones, my window was open and I assume my neighbors or people who live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I heard them talking and they were talking about how my house was playing Game of Thrones and they said, "Do you think it's the new one? Should we ring the doorbell?" So my question to you guys is, if they actually rung the doorbell, would you let them in?
Being like, I really want to watch this show with you.
Yeah, like if it's new, you get HBO or whatever.
I would say I was listening to the Watchmen podcast, and that they should like and subscribe. Isn't that what people
like and subscribe?
Yeah, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah,
I'd be like, yeah, it's like even awkward to be like, here's my Netflix account. Like, to be fair, like poaching someone's Netflix account is also,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't. Well, I mean, what do you do? I'd open the door and be like, no. And then I'd shut it very
It's like
slowly.
this generation's like borrowing sugar. Is it like borrowing your HBO?
Can I come in and watch the show with you?
They're not borrowing.
Me, a
they're
stranger?
just inviting themselves over.
No. Plus, you
Me,
live in
your
that
good friend.
You live in that rough neighborhood, Joyce, with squatters.
Terwilliger town.
It's pretty rough out there.
You know where it's also rough? Right here in the Watchmen podcast. Today we are going to talk about Baby Driver, the new Edgar Wright movie. We'll also, of course, bring you our views from the 7, as we do weekly. But before we do that, let's do the news.
Please listen carefully.
Speaking of Netflix, despite having more than 104 million subscribers, Netflix, the binge-watching streaming service, is pretty deep in debt to the tune of $20 billion, and that's a billion with a B. To be fair, the debt has accumulated not due to lack of interest, but rather by investing in the creation of original content. As a result, Netflix is spending money at a crazy rate in order to make sure they stay ahead of competitors like Amazon or Hulu or HBO. It's hard to imagine that the Netflix bubble could burst, but then again, Blockbuster Video was once a staple in every strip mall. And I guess if it fails, the Netflix collapse would make for a pretty great Netflix special.
Have we talked about how Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's like, I remember when that was a thing.
Yeah.
In fairness, I mean, I think Netflix was more like shipping you DVDs.
At the time, yeah. But like, I guess you got to spend some money to make money, but I don't know. I mean, it sounds bad, but I mean, a lot of businesses are in debt.
Speaking of borrowing Netflix accounts, Netflix, the company, has no problem with you sharing passwords. They said it's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Dropping the 20 billion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure it'll work out fine for them. But I guess it makes like even like there's that new Will Smith, David Ayer directed thing coming to Netflix, that weird sci-fi Max Landis.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's like a gritty cop movie.
Landis?
He wrote it. It's a gritty cop movie with like orcs and fairies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a $90 million movie.
Wow.
And then Martin Scorsese has got his new movie going to be on there. It'll be like $100 million movie. So, I mean, movies are expensive, folks.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Quite. Moving on, Rick and Morty Season 3 has officially begun. Technically, the first episode came out on April 1st as a hilarious prank on, I guess, people who didn't want to ever watch an episode of Rick and Morty.
Take that.
Ended up watching it by accident. Anyway, starting a week ago, you can catch new episodes every Sunday. Rick and Morty Season 3 will feature 10 new episodes. It's been a bit of a rocky return for it. It took a long time. They talk a lot about how the writing had to be just so, and animating it took a long time to do, and it's nice to be back, though.
It is. I watched the episode and the April Fool's episode and can confirm they were enjoyable.
Yeah.
If anyone out there does have an Adult Swim subscription, though, and wouldn't mind me knocking on your door.
Hey,
you can contact the gateway and let them know.
Yeah. Speaking of Game of Thrones, if you're desperate to find out what will happen in upcoming Game of Thrones episodes, and you don't care by what means you find your information, there might be some good news for you. Like the White Walkers, maybe, probably, hackers managed to breach HBO's defensive walls and steal 1.5 terabytes worth of material, including unreleased scripts and episodes. This means that there could be a trickle of spoilery information coming our way, and fans of the show will have to be vigilant if they wish to remain surprised. It is especially timely considering we are now at a point in the show that has outstripped the books, meaning that no one has any idea of exactly what will happen next. I suggest that everyone take the black when it comes to spoilers, be watchers on the wall on Sundays only, and avoid any new information if you can.
I actually don't know. I mean, how would you trust if the spoilers are real?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
The leaks are real, but the spoilers
they
are
probably
fake.
are real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of like there's just certain people out there that are fine spoiling things for themselves
Yeah.
and can still enjoy it. I'm not one of those people. I like the surprise.
I'm okay with spoilers. I like
You're
seeing
okay?
the journey. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it makes me more excited. In some instances.
So you're gonna go onto like the WikiLeaks?
No,
of,
I think
Game of
I'll.
Thrones
I
here.
think. I mean, I've waited this long. I think I can wait another 4 weeks. But I sometimes finding out the spoiler makes me more excited
That's true.
to see
Right.
it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that we're excited for, Blade Runner 2049 is pretty much done and ready for theaters, but it needed one more touch, or should I say sound. Veteran composer Hans Zimmer has been recruited to add a few bombs into the score, no doubt. The original Blade Runner was composed by, and watch me butcher this name, Evangelos Odysseus Papathanasiou. Oh my gosh. He's commonly known as Vangelis. Vangelis? Vangelis. Thank you,
Maybe.
Sam.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve wanted to make sure that the new soundtrack stayed true to the vision of the original. Hopefully Hans can come in and give it what it needs. Though it's got to be kind of like a kick in the teeth to the guys who've been working on this score, which, based on the trailer, sounds pretty good. And
Well,
good.
Johan Johansson, who's doing it, he's done Sicario. He's done. This is like a true Sam dream team here of like
Yeah.
composers coming together. And also Hans Zimmer has been, we forgot to mention when we were talking about it on Dunkirk last week, that he's been like on a world tour, like playing
Yes.
his tunes to like Coachella.
Yep.
That was so sweet. So like Hans Zimmer, the rock star, is coming in to work on Blade Runner. Not just Hans Zimmer, like rock star Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Whole new world.
Badass.
Iron Fist as a new showrunner. I think we talked a little bit earlier about how it was going to happen. You're probably thinking that the reason for this is because Iron Fist Season 1 was bad, and you'd be wrong. The reason is Scott Buck is not returning to Iron Fist Season 2 because he'll be busy making Marvel's Inhumans, neither of which look good, in my opinion. The new showrunner will be Raven Metzner. He's one of the creators and writers of Iron Fist Season 1. He also wrote the movie Elektra.
Yay.
So yeah, don't get too happy about this.
They're like, if it's going to be bad, we might as well just make it bad.
I guess it makes sense that, you know, if you want to keep the tone of what you had before, you just promote somebody within to be your showrunner.
Yeah.
But I thought that Iron Fist had some serious problems. And I believe in an older episode, we talked about Scott Buck and some of the issues he's had with other things.
Yeah,
right?
like I think Dexter. we talked
Dexter,
about.
he did the last season of Dexter,
Boo.
which was awful. So, yeah, I mean, I still haven't finished Season 1 of Iron Fist because
Yeah,
I got really
Never will.
bored and it was bad. So,
Bored
Yeah.
of the boardroom.
indeed. Wow. Good quote there. Raves, Sam. Anyway, finally, whether you like it or not, a Bumblebee Transformers spin-off is coming, and it will feature John Cena for some reason. Cena will join actress Haley Steinfeld in this movie about a talking car, I guess. It's apparently going to be set in the 80s. Weirdly, the whole thing is being directed by Travis Knight, who did the well-reviewed Kubo and the Two Strings. I'm not sure how this movie could be good, but let's imagine that David Fincher makes a good World War Z movie. Maybe there's hope.
This sounds like it should be an indie rom-com, and then talking cars kind of interrupt and get in the way.
I don't know, maybe the like little anime flair will help this out, give it. And I mean, John Cena, the guy's got personality, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Right? If you can find him on the screen. Isn't that the running joke with John Cena? I don't know. Like,
He's
you
so-
can't see him. I don't know. Someone update me on my John Cena memes. Omar, maybe?
One more, give him
Somewhere
a
like-
briefing
yeah.
after. Anyway, it kind of reminds me of the TV show and then later Lindsay Lohan movie Herbie. Do you guys remember
Hermie the
that?
Love Bug.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
goodness. And speaking of memes, Joyce and I had to do some research today to figure out an Arthur meme.
Like the fist?
Yeah,
The clenched
Yeah.
fist.
because somebody made a meme of that for Jamie when he was angry, and they just photoshopped out the fist, but we didn't know the reference. So
Oh, there you
Or
go.
behind
Omar's
our
laughing.
memes.
He
Omar's
gets it.
laughing. He's
He doesn't
like,
even watch Game of Thrones, and he gets it.
Why didn't they just do like the golden fist?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I might have got. Well, I still wouldn't. I'd just be like, oh, it's a fist.
I
Anyway,
missed that Arthur one, and I like Arthur.
well, I think it's time for our views from the 7.
Yeah.
I'm Game of Thrones with it, mama. 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 I'm Game of Thrones with it.
That's a great little music clip. I just have to compliment you on there.
Well, I spent a lot of years.
Personally emailing Drake for the masters.
Yeah, I wish it would have been nice. Well, you know what? It was a collaborative process. I kept posting new versions onto our chat thread, and eventually we came up with that one. But let's get right into it. We are now almost halfway through the season,
That's crazy.
if you can believe it.
And our heroes have traveled across Westeros about 19 times.
Yeah,
Impressive.
Euron has
I
definitely.
appreciate it.
Euron and Jon Snow have definitely borrowed from
Varys, yeah.
Varys' time traveling, time warping technology, and it's really interesting actually if you think of Euron and the distance he sailed. If you look at a map of Westeros, and imagine sort of like England. King's Landing is basically on the exact opposite side of Casterly Rock.
Yeah.
So it's quite a trek to sail all the way
Yeah.
around the island, way to the other side. But he did it because that's like a kraken.
Yeah, I think George R. R. Martin said you could imagine Westeros the size of South America. Maybe?
Okay. Sure.
If that gives anyone
there you go.
any help.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get right into it. Our winners and losers from the episode, and then we'll do some predictions. Joyce, do you want to start with a winner?
Sure. I chose Olenna Tyrell as my winner
Good winner.
Queen of
because
Sass.
even when she's dying, she gets the last word and the mic drop speech. So
Yeah.
she went out the way that she should have.
Yeah, very few Game of Thrones characters are able to make the best of their deaths.
Yeah.
And she played them, the sweet old lady that they just always,
Boy, did she chug that
underestimate.
wine.
Yeah, and I mean
She's like, this is as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, she just went for it without any fear, and then still managed to take a jab at Jaime.
Did you suspect all along that she had spoilers? The spoilers. Anyway, did you suspect all along that she had poisoned Joffrey?
We always knew that.
Yeah,
she
that was,
poisoned
confirmed.
Joffrey.
It was pretty much new.
Yeah, she told Marjorie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Olenna really did a good job.
Okay.
And then also to tell Jaime, who had essentially that was the last straw between the two brothers, right? I mean, he still freed Tyrion, but he thought that Tyrion killed his son.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Sam, who do you got for a winner?
Cersei.
Cersei. Ooh, boy,
Cersei.
was it ever?
boy.
She was just a winner on all fronts. It was sort of unpredictable that she would come out on top after 3 episodes in this. The war hasn't really begun, but she's just dominating Daenerys on all fronts. It seems Tyrion is no strategic match for them.
All
at
those
this
sleepless
point.
nights has turned her into a military mastermind.
She gets revenge. The Queen's Justice, which is, the Queen's revenge,
Yeah.
on the Sand Snakes for killing her daughter, which, fair vengeance. They didn't really need to kill her.
Yeah.
But, I mean, her husband died.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, the mother Sand Snake.
Ilaria.
Alaria, yeah. I mean, it all goes back. You can trace the who killed who. But, you kind of felt sympathy for Cersei.
It goes
all,
all
of a
the
sudden.
way back to the mountain.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. And I don't know. It was a very poetic way and horrible
It
way
was.
to have her watch her daughter die over time.
I'm one
That's
of
horrifying.
the few who like Ilaria Sand
Yeah,
because I
well.
like Oberyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still think Cersei, she can be declared a winner.
Yes,
Obviously,
fair enough.
outplaying them at Casterly
Absolutely.
Rock. Paying back the Iron Bank,
Yeah.
probably,
Well,
with Highgarden's money. We're
yes.
assuming that was the whole intent there.
Yeah.
Just
there's no
being
one
an overall
else.
badass.
House of Tyrell is dead.
And just not caring anymore that any old servant sees her with her brother.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting about that servant is that servant has been the same servant throughout
Right.
the series, and there's an interesting look at her and how she's changed her haircuts to match Cersei throughout, and now she has the short little pixie cut.
Oh God,
military Cersei.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I thought it was interesting that the Iron Bank guy, when she was like, "Stay with me for a
I
fortnight."
mean, Mycroft.
Mycroft. That's what Joyce pointed out. She's like, "Stay with me for a fortnight," and I thought he should be like, "I'd rather not, because this place could be under siege by dragons any day now." My winner is going to be not probably looking like a winner, but I think so. Jon Snow is my winner for this week because he didn't care about really forging an alliance. What he wanted was the dragon glass.
Which confirmed Obsidian. Like, confirmed now in the show. And I was like, well, finally.
Yes.
It was?
Yeah,
That's what
Tyrion's
Tyrion
like, he wants
called
the
it.
Obsidian.
Oh,
He's not
got
familiar
it.
with
Right,
the
right.
nomenclature.
Yes.
They never took basic chemistry, of course.
When a dragon. Anyway, I thought that Jon Snow, he took a big risk. As I said, Starks going south don't fare well, but he's not a Stark. And he went and made negotiations, and I just thought that he stayed true to what he believes in as he must, and he knew he sounded crazy, and I thought to get that dragon glass is, for him, the only thing that matters. It doesn't even matter. They could keep him prisoner forever as long as his people get that dragon glass and they can fight the White Walkers with it.
Yeah.
So he was a winner for me.
Great.
Plus, finally got to see the Jon Snow Daenerys conversation. And how about that intro scene to both of them with the lengthy Daenerys, and then
That was fabulous.
Davos is like, "Oh, this is Jon Snow. He's king in the north."
It was awesome.
I love Davos.
Yeah.
He's so salt of the earth, right? In comparison.
No, I thought they did a really good job with the meeting. It was interesting. They're two very stubborn characters.
Yep.
So it's frustrating at times, obviously, watching them kind of negotiate. And I think I predicted last episode that they would come to some uneasy alliance after just this one episode, but it might take the whole thing. And that's sort of what ended up happening. Obviously, she was pretty firm on the bend the knee thing first, and then the nice little bromance between Tyrion and Jon Snow, which was great to rewatch. That might have even been better than the interaction between Jon and Daenerys, was seeing Tyrion and Jon back
Yeah, I
together
loved
again.
that.
Yeah.
Which is
The
nice.
brooding thing was great.
It's a great
Yeah.
You're
joke.
better at brooding than me. Who's your loser, Joyce?
Well, I went in thinking it was also Olenna because of House Tyrell. She did everything to save her family, and in the end, she was the last member standing. But after her, it's like most of the noble houses are done. But I think that Jaime is also my loser of the week. He's just, getting stomped on everywhere.
He's become a little pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere he went, people were insulting him. The Euron quips.
I know technically Euron should be a winner, but I just can't can't bring myself to picking him.
I can go off of that and say he's my loser this week.
Yeah.
Because, yes, Euron. Because he's so confident that this is going to work out for himself.
Oh, yeah.
When you just know there's nothing good that's going to happen for the guy.
Yeah.
The guy's not getting anything out of this deal with Cersei.
I think he's going to go by Dragonfire. That's my guess. Yeah.
I mean, in a blaze of rock star glory, the pyrotechnics at his, post-war Alice Cooper show.
Yes.
Yeah, Euron.
Burn him up.
Do you think it's possible that Theon could get vengeance on Euron, or is it possible? What's he going to do with Yara, by the way?
Don't know
Kind
yet.
of dragging
Don't
her
know.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, Theon, you just want the guy to get some redemption.
May never happen.
Just sits on that boat forever.
It's so good when he's like, "I tried to save her," and they're like, "Yeah, right."
Like, yeah, we know you didn't. Why would you lie?
Yeah.
My loser for this week is Daenerys, and I think it's been about as bad as it could be for her getting to Dragonstone. And not only because the Unsullied, they took Casterly Rock, but apparently it's worthless. You'd think that Tyrion would have known that the gold mines had run empty and that there was no point in having Casterly Rock. Mm-hmm. It seemed
And
like
he kept the books for, not in the most recent years, but
it seemed like a real miscalculation
Yeah.
on his part. But maybe pride got in his way as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the whole thing, like, you just don't really know how much time has passed between certain things. Like, how long has he actually been gone? I'm not that sure.
That's true.
So, like, how much has changed since he's been gone?
Well,
I don't know.
I drew from the fact that Olenna said that that their father should have invaded Highgarden as soon as the gold mines ran dry, which suggested to me it's been a while.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought Daenerys, also with Jon Snow, she doesn't really actually get anything. It's just kind of a hope that the North will come and fight. And it seems like Jon Snow will... I'd be surprised if the rest of this season was Jon Snow being like, okay, let's help them fight down here first. I'd be more inclined to think what will happen, and this is roll right into some predictions. I think what will happen is Daenerys will lose the battle for King's Landing. One of her dragons will die or something like that, and then she will instead turn to help Jon Snow, and because that battle will intensify, and so it'll be a sort of like that'll be the tension that happens.
I have a similar theory where I think that he'll give her advice. I don't think that he will go as far as helping her fight, but I think all foreshadowing points to one of the dragons dying. But I actually was talking to Matt this morning about how I don't think that a dragon will die by crossbow. I think a dragon will die by White Walker and turn into zombie dragon.
Oh,
That
that'd
would
be
be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be badass.
They'd be blowing their CGI budget though. I don't know.
But I think that's why there have been no battles for the first 3 episodes of all battles.
They don't want to. They can't afford it.
But
Yeah, they did a weird montage battle.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
That was
interesting.
fast. And then
Yeah.
the battle for Highgarden was ultra fast.
Yeah.
They just showed
Didn't even
up.
happen.
Man, we're
Yeah.
here. Here's some poison.
Yeah.
You got any predictions, Sam?
I find it like this show, the way that the pace has picked up so much, it's like literally anything could happen between one episode to the next. I don't have any strong, bold predictions, I don't think, at this point, because the one thing I've noticed is just it's taken 3 episodes, but they've essentially streamlined the major players, right? So you're dealing with essentially King's Landing versus Daenerys, and that's sort of it.
Yeah.
And then the White Walker thing is kind of off on its own still
Yeah, and Winterfell's just trying to survive.
Yep.
Yeah.
for right now.
Yeah.
Learning to put leather on armor so people don't freeze. Stay
Yeah.
warm, Winterfell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Bran, it's nice to see him back in Winterfell.
Creepy-
Creepiest dude ever, all of a sudden. That three-eyed raven business, not winning over his sister.
I didn't realize being the three-eyed raven meant that he became emotionless.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it's like being a Jedi.
Anyway, lots to look forward to, and we'll check in with the views from the 7 next week. But now let's hit the trailer for Baby Driver.
You win?
I'm in, baby.
One of these days, baby, you're gonna get blood on your hands. Time to face the music.
Baby, we need to get out of here.
I have to end this. Are we in bed together now? Baby. Baby? Baby.
Doc said Michael Myers.
This is Mike Myers.
It should be the Halloween mask.
This is a Halloween mask.
No, the killer dude from Halloween.
Oh, you mean Jason?
No!
Baby, you tell me who does.
She a good girl? You love her? Yes, I do. That's too bad.
So Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's latest. He's writer and director Edgar Wright, known for stuff like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead,
World's End.
Almost Ant-Man.
I guess almost.
Um,
He says he still hasn't seen it.
really?
Yeah.
It's a
He can't bring himself to watch it.
Oh,
Because I think he spent a lot of time, invested a lot of himself.
that's fair. Baby Driver is crushing it on Rotten Tomatoes, 95%.
And doing well at the box office.
Yep. So all around pretty good movie. What did you think? Like it, hate it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Say it's, an above average movie. It wasn't my favorite of his movies. It's high energy, action, humor, some love story, soundtrack, memorable soundtrack, and some overall pretty good performances. So I can't really bash it too much. But there's still something about, like, I remember going into it with the hype being very, very high. And even just in that first scene, like, you kind of get, for me anyways, I know whether I'm really going to be hooked within, the first 15 minutes.
Right.
And by contrast, like Dunkirk, it didn't take longer than that first sequence to really let me know that this was going to be a movie unlike anything I'd seen this summer or this year. Whereas Baby Driver, I was sort of expecting that kind of thrill and that feeling of something different, something interesting. And it just didn't fully click with me right off the bat. And I think it was a movie that didn't fully click with me the entire way through. But at the same time, there's very little I can knock against it. But maybe through our discussion, we can figure out what it is that kind of just has made the gears kind of not fully mesh.
Well, I thought it was really great as a music video, but as a movie, I was kind of meh on it. I thought it was maybe just okay. It is a cool movie.
Maybe just okay.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was bored, and I thought it was cool. It's got a neat gimmick to it, and then, the way that they mesh sound and action together. Not that that's new, but it was a very well edited movie. I think you have to give it credit for that. Just to give people some background on what the plot of this movie is, if you're never planning to see it or you don't care. The main character, played by Ansel Elgort, is called Baby, like B-A-B-Y, as he spells it out for you.
B-A-B-Y.
When he was a child, he was in a car accident that killed his parents, and he was listening to music at the time, and he has tinnitus now. A hum in his drum, I believe Kevin Spacey calls it. And so as a result, he now is constantly listening to music on an iPod, of all things, to drown out the tinnitus. He's also apparently really good at stealing cars. I don't know how, just sort of learned. He's very good at it. He stole Kevin Spacey's car, and Kevin Spacey is, I guess, a guy who coordinates bank robberies, a criminal mastermind, if you will. And Kevin Spacey caught him, but as opposed to, like, turning him into the police or, like, killing him or something like that, he forced Baby to be his wheelman for various heists, and until his debt is paid.
Right.
And we've kind of run into a one last job scenario with him. We start with seeing him do his driving thing. The driving, so it's in its essence, it's sort of like cool car chase movie. It's much in the lines of, like, Drive, for example, is a car chase movie.
It's like Drive mixed with Guardians
style.
of the Galaxy.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Or, it's got great chase scenes like, I don't know, Bullet or The French Connection, all those French movies. And basically there's a crew. They go and they do heists. Things go bad. Baby tries to make an escape. There's a romance. That's the rest of it, pretty much.
That's it, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit let's talk about the style and the music that goes with it. Because that is something I really did like about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool the way that they sync things up. It's not just a gimmick, but rather something that is intrinsic to the character. Baby, there's a scene where, near the end, where he is fleeing everybody, where he steals a car and then he's frantically flipping through the stations to find the right music for his getaway. There's another scene where he pauses them. They're about to go in to do the heist, and he has to set his soundtrack to it, and so they had to pause before they could go in.
So it could be timed properly.
Yes.
That's right.
And that was kind of cool, and I liked it. But I think for me, it was just kind of like, I got that sense from the trailer. Like, I already knew that this was going to be a cool thing about the movie. So I liked it a lot. And the scenes where, he's always dancing around. There's the scene with, the one track plays and he's almost like doing a little Singing in the Rain bit to it.
It was at the very beginning. Yeah, it was very La La Land. The opening, actually. He's flipping the windshield wipers with the beat.
Yes.
You're kind of dancing in the car, and then he drives. And it's still, cut to the music, which is great. And then the scene after that, he's literally dancing through the streets a la Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3. This was, I think, a little bit better. But he's, like, playing the trumpet that's like painted on graffitied on the wall. The words to the song are appearing on it's like, it's like a music video. And that was kind of cool. It's fine. But But again, a lot of people are calling this movie very, very original.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think it
In
is an
some
original
ways.
idea. It's not well, technically it is based on something, but it's not an existing kind of story or property or anything. But it is things that we've seen, right? We just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and it's very much in a similar vein. Action beats cut to these sort of rock and roll pop hits, right? And funny thing, actually interestingly, Edgar Wright and James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, did talk while
really?
making this movie so they wouldn't overlap soundtracks. They compared choices,
Interesting.
Do you have Blondie on yours? Do you have the Cars? No.
Yeah.
You
It's
can
great.
use that.
It is
You can
great
use that.
soundtrack. I'll give it that.
It doesn't really carry that, like, as far as I'm remembering, it doesn't really carry to the very end of the movie, weirdly. Like, it sort of at some point feels like they sort of forego the music bit. Because the movie kind of gets long. And by the end, it's like, well, wasn't that, like, fun music thing something that this movie did?
Yeah.
I kind of forget because I'm trying to fight John Hamm for 6 hours.
T-1000 John Hamm.
Yeah. So that part of it, I was kind of like, well, maybe the movie could have been shorter and they could have really refined that idea to carry strongly throughout the whole movie rather than just very prominently at the beginning and then maybe peter out a little bit towards the end of the film.
I think the thing for me that made me feel like the movie was a bit of a failure is that I didn't really care about Baby. Like, there was nothing about him that made me sympathize with him. And I felt like everything about him was more or less to drive this, that he needs music in his life, the tone, like, his...
To drive.
Yeah, that's right. His stepfather, I think that's who it was, is a guy who's deaf and listens to music and he can feel the vibrations and everything like that.
And he has the backstory, of course.
Yeah.
He got in a car accident.
Car
He
accident.
has tinnitus.
And he goes.
Tinnitus?
He get tinnitus.
know.
He goes to the restaurant where his mom worked, and that's where he has the meet cute with Lily James, who plays Deborah. They have the song lyrics, and she can sing, and they chat. But there's not really. I feel like the movie is a lot of like people are going to say something at some point, and then that's going to become true later on in the movie. So Lily James or Deborah is going to say, I want to just get into a car and drive east with no plan. And that's exactly what they end up doing, driving west, whatever they do. And John Hamm's character is like, oh, I'm totally different when I'm angry or whatever, and that's exactly what happens to him. Because otherwise, things in this movie get kind of weird. I think it starts out pretty awesome for the first maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes, doing the car chases, doing their heists. You anticipate things are going to go bad. They try a little bit of misdirection on you with Kevin Spacey's character, Doc, because it seems like he's the villain.
Yeah.
To start, and he even plays it up in very obvious ways, such as when Baby is paid his debt, and he's with the waitress. She's like, Kevin Spacey is basically like, oh, it'd be a shame if something happened to her.
Yeah,
playing it off. I mean, I don't mind bait and switches where you can be like, he's going to be the good guy, he's going to be the bad guy, and then he ends up being a good guy. But in this one, I thought, you're pushing it too hard. Like, it sounds like he just literally is a bad guy. You might as well just make him a bad guy.
Right.
Then in the end, Kevin Spacey's character is like, wow, you guys are annoying, but now watch me die for you to save your lives.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make a lot of sense.
But all the characters, like, I definitely know where you're coming from with the unsympathetic kind of feeling towards Baby. Because of all the performers in the movie, Ansel Elgort. Elgort. He was my least favorite.
Probably.
By far. He was the weakest link in the cast. But also, like, all of the characters are kind of shitty people, except for the waitress. Who seems, well, except for the fact that she's hanging out with this deadbeat, really.
Yeah.
This, like, criminal. Deborah, the fact that she's hanging out with this criminal is kind of shady. But otherwise, everyone's just bad people, right? He's a criminal and becomes a murderer, even though he really doesn't want to be. But he is. And
Jamie Foxx.
Everyone else is a bad criminal. And that's sort of the thing with this movie. You can see one of the biggest fans of this movie I've seen on social media is one of our favorite directors, Guillermo del Toro. He loves this movie. He was raving about it on his social media. You can read his tweets. But essentially, he was saying, which falls in line with a lot of what he likes, is this was very much like he likened it to like a Disney fairy tale style movie, and how it is very simple and it is very much this fantasy where, yeah, you know, at the beginning of the movie, it's going to be, oh, I'm in this crappy situation, but here is the golden ticket out, and here is the you know, let's drive west and just have all our problems go away. That's, you know, riding off into the sunset. So the movie really is just that, you know, watching your hero go through the motions of doing that, set to some upbeat poppy numbers, but in a very kind of gritty, grimy, unpleasant world where the characters are all gritty, grimy, and unpleasant. So I feel like when you watch this movie, you kind of have to buy into that like fairy tale, almost Disney movie-esque structure in order to really like rant and rave about it. Because otherwise you might be left maybe more like you thinking, this movie just doesn't really make that much sense.
I also felt like the talking about acting and the characters and things like that, the chemistry between Baby and Deborah was pretty weak. I didn't really feel like I felt the chemistry between Buddy and Darling, like John Hamm and Isa Gonzalez. I felt like, oh yeah, they have passion between them, but I don't know. I just didn't really. It didn't click for me, and I didn't really understand what she, as you said, he's like just a criminal. I didn't really understand what she saw in him or why she was with him.
Yeah, it very much seemed like she's like, wow, my life is at such a dead end that anything is better than this. It was like, wow,
all it takes.
That's kind of depressing, actually. All it takes is this one kind of cute guy to like awkwardly hit on me at the diner. I was like, don't you have anyone else that you could possibly spend your time with besides this kid?
I also, it was weird too because, you know, you point out like, oh yeah, they're all these bad guys. The movie kind of tries to make it look like Baby's maybe a good guy. I don't really understand.
Yeah.
He's definitely a car thief at the very least. He was a car thief before this movie, before he got caught by Kevin Spacey. And then when he gets sort of, I guess, a lenient sentence somehow because he robbed people but was nice to them.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
It was kind of a weird ending of, I thought, like, this movie could have ended about 6 different times. It was like The Return of the King in that way. It should have ended a couple times. But it seemed like somewhere along the line, someone was like, in the year 2017, you can't have a movie about this criminal where he literally drives off into the sunset. Because I was, you know, like I said, as the Disney movie, I was like, okay, whatever, sure. He went through all this stuff. He got the girl. He got out of his debt. He killed the bad guy, and now he earned the right to drive off into the sunset. I've already suspended my disbelief over his horrible criminal activity. Whatever.
Just let him drive off.
But I felt like somewhere along the line in the back, you know, in the studio or whatever, they're like, kids are going to watch this movie.
We got to send them to jail for a little bit.
Just to show.
We got to show white privilege.
that this guy, even though he saved that old lady, he was nice to her when he carjacked her.
Yeah.
And he saved the one woman by shaking his head not to go in.
Come on.
You know, and all that. That he still paid the price, which was like, you know, probably like 4 months in prison.
Yeah, he did like no time, despite also the Atlanta police do not seem concerned that there's a rash of bank robberies happening all the time in this city, like major robberies going
because
down.
They're like, wow, those are some sick car chases though. They're just caught up in it.
I did feel like a lot of the acting in this movie was, I want my character to look cool.
Totally.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but as I said, like there are no stakes for the characters. I did not care about any of them. And I don't know how John Hamm's character became like unstoppable killer, but I guess that's how the movie wanted to wrap up. Like, you're right when you say that there could have been like 6 or 7 different points where they could have ended it. But.
Yeah, I think that John Hamm, as you rightly pointed out, T-1000 John Hamm, just could not die. It became a little tiring for sure. Like you said, the beginning of the movie is very strong because I think it is just like it's a cool, neat idea that really gives a lot of energy at the beginning. But as the movie drags on, it kind of loses some of that gas. But I did like the other characters. If you didn't care about them, I don't know. I bought into their just like cool shticks.
Yeah, I mean,
Jamie Foxx was slightly annoying as the character he's playing, but he was also despicable And every time he was on the screen, I was like, this guy is causing a problem. He is always just causing a problem. But he played the character well. I thought he was funny, but also kind of scary at times. Kevin Spacey is good and smarmy as always. John Hamm, I thought, was kind of cool, and it was nice to see John Bernthal.
Bernthal, yeah.
In this, again, small roles. He only really seems to be able to get these small parts, but I thought all the little, like, kind of bank robber, like, rotating cast of people was kind of a fun thing where they switched up the crew, and it
was weird.
The one guy was an idiot and he bought the Mike Myers masks.
Yeah,
it's a funny gag.
Funny. Like the literal actor Mike Myers, like Austin Powers masks.
Yeah,
as opposed to the Friday the 13th
or Halloween killer.
Halloween, yes, my bad.
Yeah.
It's I think, like, you know, and I've on these shows before I've said that in heist movies I don't mind one note characters because they're easier to fill out and they're fun.
Like Ocean's 11 or
Rogue
something,
One,
right?
or something like that. But I think it's better when there are some stakes for the character that makes sense. And I just didn't care about any of these characters.
And in comparison, so comparing this film to Edgar Wright's other three most popular, the Cornetto trilogy, as it's come to be known, those movies have one thing that I really think, like, this movie doesn't really have, like, a heart with its characters. And I don't know if that's the influence of Sean Pegg in the process, because him and Wright and Nick Frost and that are, like, they're good buddies, obviously. But Sean Pegg also, like, I think he helped write those films.
Yeah.
Or at least contributed.
Simon
Pegg, sorry.
So
Simon
Shaun
Pegg.
of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg, my bad. Like, in those films, you do have characters that you do care quite a bit about. Like, obviously, I go back to, you know, scenes like in Shaun of the Dead, if you recall, with Sean and when his one quote-unquote friend is going to kill his mom. And there's that really devastating emotional scene in the bar where he's, you know, yelling not to kill his zombie mom, and it's like it's very emotional. Same as in The World's End, it's a pretty dark, emotional movie as well. These characters are, you know, he's kind of a despicable character, but he has some depth and heart to him as well. And same with Hot Fuzz. There's, you know, there you have that in there as well, and I think that's just something that was kind of missing from any of, like, especially Baby. But these other characters, it was definitely, like you said, it's a cool, stylish film. But there's just that underlying sort of, you know, beating heart of, like, an emotional, like, you really didn't get why he loved his mom, I guess. Like, he made those beat tapes.
There was a lot of effort into his mixtapes, but not a lot of effort into his character.
Yeah, and like, the movie has funny parts, it has cool parts, it's got stylish parts, but just without the little bit of heart added. And maybe that's the thing that just didn't make it click for me. Because I guess style only really gets you so far, but who knows?
I think also bringing it up as an Edgar Wright film, the thing that struck me about it is that in movies like Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead, the characters are sort of self-aware and they're like, what's up with this weird situation? And it's like, isn't it odd that we are in this situation? And I think in Baby Driver, it was like, no, this is the weird world we live in. And it's not like that's damning or anything like that. It's just sort of odd for an Edgar Wright movie. Like, I was a bit unexpected that it would be a movie that relies on its style over its substance. So.
But I think there are some benefits of, like, the movie as the movie itself. I appreciate the fact that he was able to make this original film and have it be successful.
Sure.
Because I really like the fact that, you know, where most of the summer is populated by, obviously, existing properties, sequels, prequels, and the likes, this was none of that. I mean, it's based off a music video. There's that.
Yes.
But essentially, you know, it stands on its own, and good for Edgar Wright, because the dude's going to get to make whatever he wants to make pretty much now, which, I mean, the dude's an excellent filmmaker.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, I didn't really like Baby Driver. Clearly I'm in the minority, and most people really like it. And, you know, you should go watch this movie in theater because you will probably like it. But I am glad it exists. I like that it added some new, you know, dimensions to that type of film, and we all like original films, and Edgar Wright's pretty great. My point is just that, to me, it had some flaws that didn't work for me. And maybe I'm just more of a character kind of guy. I don't know.
Because usually you're just like, give me a simple plot and a short movie.
It wasn't short though.
That's the thing. That was
long.
the one thing. That was it.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think people should see it in theaters, rent it? I would say Netflix is actually the best go for this one if it ever makes it.
Yeah, like
there.
support Netflix. They need the money.
They need your money.
No, this would be a good one on Netflix. This is a great. If you're looking to go see a movie with, like a fun movie with friends, family date, any of that, this is a good film to go see in theaters. It's a fun movie, but people watch a lot of fun movies on Netflix these days.
Yeah.
But like I said, support original films when you can. So go see this over, something else.
Well, we don't have any facts. Joyce had to duck out. She's going to visit a dog. So,
She is. Unless Omar wants to come in and inform us about John Cena memes. I mean,
does he know off the top of his head
I
about
honestly
John
don't know.
Cena memes?
He's like bursting into the studio.
Jeez. All right, Omar, tell us about John Cena memes.
Yeah, I don't really follow the John Cena memes.
Yeah, so there's like a few. So there's one meme based off of his entrance. So as a wrestler, you have like an entrance when you get into the ring.
Yeah.
And like basically his music is like this kind of like tune. It's like da 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 da, and he kind of walks in. And
do you want to just like play that?
Yeah, sure. I'll play that clip. Yeah, I can do that. And then it's like this announcer's like, oh, John Cena walks in the ring. That was like a whole thing. But also his slogan, one of his many slogans is like, you can't see me. So there's like photos of John Cena with his wife or something, and it's like, oh, look at this lady by herself.
Yeah.
And the other one is money, power, respect. That's like his slogan as well for the kids.
Right.
So
Right.
money, power, respect.
For the kids.
Money, power, and respect, and Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And my friend, Bumblebee.
That's what he's going to say when he rescues Bumblebee.
Yeah.
We got to learn one thing, kid, vehicle. Money, power, respect. I'm John Cena.
I'm John Cena, not The Rock like they wanted, but it's John Cena.
Yeah, that's right. He's got to be rock light at this point. It's also interesting because, Mark Wahlberg is the normal star of Transformers. Bumblebee spinoff won't be Michael Bay, so it's not really the same Transformers. But John Cena has that great line from Trainwreck, which is an awful movie, where he says, I look like I ate Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the guy's like, hey, isn't that like Mark Wahlberg? It's like, Mark Wahlberg? Mark Wahlberg's like 5'4". I look like I ate Mark Wahlberg. Anyway.
I don't know. John Cena, we'll see. Well,
He seems
we'll
like a
not
decent
see
guy.
him
We will
in
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee,
Yeah.
the spinoff.
Well, that's our show for today.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Omar.
Thank you, Omar.
Yeah.
On impromptu meme facts. Thanks to CGSR, thanks to Gateway, and we'll see you next week. You won't be here, Sam.
I'm away for 2 weeks.
What will Joyce and I do? Who knows? It'll be a mystery.
I'll see you all when I get back.
See ya.